to allow the loving community to embrace you. So, this month that we are going to be discussing about is a very unique month. And just briefly, and then I want to tell you a beautiful story. I don't know in Western calendar how it works, but in the Vedic calendar or the spiritual calendar, we use the moon calendar and sometimes the solar calendar as well. So we calculate the moon from point A to point B and to come back to its home. It takes 354 days to come back to the same space. And the sun takes 365 days. Oh, Miriam. Miriam, thank you for joining us, and your friend Kayla for joining us.
Haribol, Veda.
Haribol. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't see your face. I didn't see your smile. So I
Yeah,
was,
sorry. I don't have the camera on, but we are saying hi to everyone and to you.
thank you, Miriam. So in spiritual astrological calculation, we use the moon and the sun. Depending on what school of spiritual astrology you believe in, we use sometimes the solar calendar, sometimes the lunar calendar. So the lunar calendar has 354 days, and the solar calendar has 365 days. So, on average, in a year, there is a difference of about 11 to 12 days. And so, to make up for these 11 to 12 days, every approximately 2.5 years, you get an additional month. And that additional month is, is what's happening right now. And this month is called the month of Purushottama. Is extremely powerful month because what happened was all the months they got together and they approached Vishnu and said, you know, we are all here, but then there is this guy here, the 13th month. What is he doing here? He doesn't belong to us. And this month started to feel very unwanted and rejected. Can you imagine? You have all your friends together, and all of a sudden you're not recognized. Your presence is not received. So this 13th month felt a little down because everyone was gloating about their presence and he had no place. And Krishna said, guess what? I will be that month. I will represent you. How about that? I'm on your team. So then this month, he adopted this month, and this month became the Purushottama month. It is extremely powerful because this month comes only once every 2.5 years. And it's all the constellation of the planets and the stars makes it extremely potent. It's the most powerful time to uh, to do things to amplify the spiritual benefits because love personified adopted this month. Krishna personified adopted this month. So, this is what this Purushottama month means. and how it comes about. Now, I wanted to share with you a small story because on this month, there is a sound. Is that me or is that someone else? Probably it's me. So, this month is dedicated to a lot of deep inner work and self-development. Because on this month, whatever you do spiritually is multiplied thousands of times in its spiritual benefits because of this very fascinating astrological calculations. And one great saint, I will mention his name and I want to tell you a small story. He writes beautiful songs and poetry and prayers, particularly for this month. And so this saint, his name is Vilva Mangala Thakur. And his story is quite fascinating because he was born in a very, very pious spiritual family. He was born in a Brahmin family. This was in southern part of India, a state called Kerala. So there he writes very beautifully with a lot of devotion on how to celebrate this month. One second. Okay, there we go. So this Saint Vilva Mangala Thakur, even though he was born in a very, very pious spiritual family, he had some really not such nice habits because he had a tendency to try and enjoy the material world. And so he would visit prostitutes on a regular basis. And so what happened was that he was fascinated by one particular prostitute, and she was his favorite. And he could not live his life without visiting her. So one day, he wanted to visit uh, this prostitute. Her name is Chintamani. He wanted to visit Chintamani, but there was a major, major thunderstorm. A lot of lightning, heavy rain, hails, thunderstorms. But his desire to be with Chintamani was so intense that there was nothing outside that could stop him from visiting her. So he started to walk in the rain and thunder and lightning, heavy winds, because he just really wanted to be with her. So he made his journey and he came to this river. Generally in India, in the monsoon season, you'll notice so much rain happens, then all the rivers become, the water level rises, and sometimes it floods the villages around. But he was so eager to meet Chintamani that
Yeah.
none of this mattered. So what did he do? He didn't have a way to cross the river. There was no boatmen that were actually working in these thunderstorms in the rain. So, and he wasn't a great swimmer. So he thought what to do. He thought maybe I will just hold on to a branch because there's so many branches falling from the trees. I will hold on to one of this dead branch and I will cross the river to go and meet Chintamani. Little did he know when he wanted to cross the river, the branch that he thought he was holding on to cross the river was not a tree trunk or a branch of a tree. It was actually a dead human that was floating on the river because he was so absorbed in her that nothing else was visible. No obstacle seemed like an obstacle in his path. So he was floating on a dead corpse and he swam across the river. Chintamani on the other side of the river thought, okay, he's not coming today because it's lightning, thunderstorms, hails, and rains, so he will not come. So she had locked her doors and the gate to her house, and she went to sleep. But here, Vilva Mangala, he was very determined. After he crossed the river, he walked up and he found that the gate to her house was locked and he needed to climb over. So there was no ladders around. So he was trying to see what he could find to use to climb over this fence. So he found something hanging from a wall. So he grabbed a hold of it and he climbed up and he crossed to the other side. And little did he know what looked like a rope was actually a poisonous snake. But that did not deter him because he wasn't seeing. He only had one focus, was to be with Jim. So what happened? He crossed the fence, holding on to the tail of a poisonous snake. And he goes and knocks on the door, and Chintamani wakes up, completely shocked to see that he came to see her. And so she asked, how did you get here in this rain? And he narrated the story of the incredible sacrifice that he made to come and see her. The rain, thunderstorm, and he described it all. Generally speaking, a person that makes so much sacrifice, if you tell the object of your love, that this is the sacrifice you make, they would be so happy. But she looked at him and she said, such intensity is your desire to be with me. Can you imagine? If only a fraction of this desire, this intensity you had for Krishna, you would become the greatest saint. All you need is a fraction of the intensity, and you would be free from material life. And then Sage Vilva Mangala, he immediately recognized what a deep, profound statement that this Chintamani, who happened to be a spiritual devotee, had imparted this knowledge, this deep realization he had. I just want to take a little side detour and share with you that many times in our lives, people are trying to shake us up and wake us up. It's difficult to wake up because we're in deep sleep. This great sage, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes very beautifully in one of his uh, poetry, where he expresses Jeev jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Koto nidra jao maya, pisa chira kole. And he says, how long will I sleep in the lap of this witch called Maya or ignorance or illusion? When will I wake up from this illusion? So, living in the material world, the deeper we are in this slumber, then it's hard to wake up. But Vilva Mangala Thakur, he was at the tail end of his sleep. He was not in the middle of his sleep. He's not in the beginning of his sleep. You could tell that he was at the tail end of his sleep in the material world of illusion. That she just made this one small realization, one small instruction, and it awakened him internally. The lamp in his heart immediately awakened. The devotion in his heart for God immediately opened. The love in his heart immediately, the eternal love immediately started to shine. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he questions us. He challenges us by saying, how long are we going to sleep in the lap of this witch, ignorance? How long will we sleep? When will we wake up to our true eternal position of a loving relationship with God? So he's asking this question. And this is a question for all of us. Because Bilva Mangala Thakur, even though he was born in such a pious family, so sinful was his life, but he was woken up with a small little knock on the door. Then what happens? Bilva Mangala Thakur, he wakes up next day and he goes to the river to bathe. And he notices when he's bathing in the river from a distance the beautiful figure of women bathing, because generally speaking, in India, in the villages, women wake up early to bathe before the light shows up because they don't have bathrooms and privacy. And so the darkness is the privacy. But he happened to wake up a little early that day and he notices through the mist, through that Sandhya light, where you can't quite tell because it's not day and it's not night. So that junction, he notices the form and the beauty of the feminine body, and his mind immediately leaves him for a minute, and he immediately, because the words of Chintamani was reverberating in his mind, so he recognized this is what is happening, that my mind, these eyes are the cause of my entanglement in this world. So he went and he approached the lady. He says, "Oh, beautiful lady, do you by any chance have any uh, hair clips? I don't know if you all use hair clips, but those days they used to use hair clips to hold it together." So he asked for the lady for a pair of hair clips, and then lady took the hair clips from her hair and gave it to him. And he took those hair clips and he poked his eyes and he blinded himself for good. And he exclaimed how these eyes have bewildered him and had trapped him, and that he no longer was going to allow the eyes to do that. So he pokes his eyes. And now he's completely blind. He's thinking what to do. How do I find Krishna? He starts asking people. And people said, you have to find Krishna in Vrindavan. And so he started to go towards Vrindavan. Blind, he's walking towards Vrindavan. As he's going to Vrindavan, this journey is a long journey. He's praying and he's singing from his heart and those beautiful songs that as he's entering into Vrindavan. Then what happened when he finally reached Vrindavan, he would sit under a tree and he would just sing. And this little boy, Nitai, can you see if you can find this picture of Vilva Mangala Thakur and Krishna comes to offer him buttermilk? So this little cowherd boy in Vrindavan, Vrindavan is filled with cows, and this is the original cowboy land, not Texas. It was originally Vrindavan. So there, all these cowherd boys, they were milking the cows, and they would bring a pot full of milk for him because he was blind. He needed food. So these boys would milk. And so this young particular boy, blue boy, he would bring cow's milk and give it to him, and he would drink this milk. And he would sit with this old man and hear him sing. So this is what was happening. Is the first one, Nitai? The first, yeah, that one. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. You can see there's a picture of it. You see him singing, he's blind. Okay, let's zoom out again. They have a picture of this old man singing with his instrument, and this baby blue boy would come and hear him sing and offer him and feed him buttermilk. So, this is what his life was going. And one day, as he was walking, he fell into a well. So in India, they have wells to get water from. But he fell into this well, and this well was a dry well. There was no water in it. So he didn't know where he was. So he was trying to figure out where he was. So he figured now that he has walls all around him, he'll just sit there and he'll start singing. So he started to sit in the well and sing. And the next day, this blue boy came looking for him, couldn't find him. So he saw him in the well and he said, Vilva Mangala, what are you doing here? He says, I don't know how I ended up here. He says, okay, I will sit with you here and you can please sing to me. So he was singing. And then finally, he says, let me get you out of this well. So this blue boy grabbed his hand and took him out of the well. Can you imagine all this time, this blue boy, there was no physical contact because this blue boy was sitting there and listening. He actually had asked this blue boy, I'm going to sing a song. Can you please write my song down? Because I cannot see, I cannot write. Can you please write these songs? So this blue boy, Krishna, would sit there and write as he would sing these songs because he was blind. So finally, he wanted to take him out of the well. He held his hands and took him out of the well. But as soon as he touched the hands of this blue boy and he was taken out of the well, He immediately went into a deep spiritual ecstasy because that blue boy was the embodiment of pure love. He recognized this is the Lord of his heart. This is the person that he was singing about. And when he lets go of his hand, and this blue boy never to return again, then this Vilva Mangala Thakur, he sang this beautiful song. हाथ चुराई के जाए रहे हो हृदय से जाओ तो मानो. That means you may let go of my hand and you may disappear from my life, but you will never be able to leave my heart because I have captured you in my heart. So this is how he writes beautiful songs and he expresses this deep love. The reason I'm telling you this story is because the songs that he writes, it's about capturing love in our heart on this month and making sure that every day of our life on this month is a practice. Everything we do is should be centered around how to cultivate and bring God, bring love into the center of our heart and capture that love and don't let it leave us. And this is why this happens in this Purushottama month, this month. Is strictly dedicated towards personal self-development where we can capture love in our hearts and keep it there. That even though God may not show up in front of us, we may not see him in our day-to-day lives, but he will never be able to leave your heart. And this is what Purushottam month means. And the sages recommend that every day, whatever we eat, we should eat simple. What will actually be the most beneficial food for our heart? So eating sattvic food, eating food that is pure in consciousness. And every word that we say, it should be pleasing to the heart, to your heart, and pleasing to the hearts of others. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this great saint, he prescribes this. Manasa deho geho, jo kichu more. Beautiful poetry. Arpilu tua pade nanda kishore. He said, this month, particularly this month, should be centered around how to cultivate the simplicity of life and internalize these deep feelings of love and emotion and devotion to God. So words, speech, our thoughts should be pure. Our speech is heart-centered. Our consumption of food is heart-centered. The music we listen to, it should only be loving spiritual music. Our feet should be engaged, our hands and your feet should be engaged in serving others. So this is why this Purushottam month is so important. I only have 20 minutes, but I want to tell you how this Chintamani and Vilva Mangal Thakur came about. This is another esoteric story that I could give you. How did Vilva Mangal Thakur, even though born in a pious spiritual family, he had degraded himself and then he got back his spiritual connection? How did that happen? So as we know, in our lives, common in the Western world. We say we came here with nothing, we leave with nothing. Has anyone ever heard that expression? Raise your hand if you have heard that expression. Okay, so it's a very common one. But in spiritual life, we do not fully agree with this theory. We say that you have come with a bag and you will leave with a bag. So, this karmic bag that we come into this world with, we will live with it. So, Purushottam month is the spiritual month. It's so powerful that you can leave the bag behind and you can go empty handed. So, there is no weight for you to carry. So, how does this work? So, this Vilva Mangala Thakur, in his previous life, because he came as Vilva Mangala Thakur with a bag. So, in his previous life, he was a sannyasi, a mendicant. And as a mendicant, his biggest uh, dedication was to feed other saints and serve them. So every day he would beg and he would collect and he would feed people and serve them. So what happened? One day he ran out of money, just like we are feeding everyday homeless people in Atlanta and around the world. One day Veda will run out of money and he will go and beg. And he'll say, please help me feed these people. But this Vilvamangal Thakur in his previous life, as a mendicant, he didn't go out and beg for money to feed others. What did he do? He thought, I'm going to steal. He didn't want to beg. He wanted to go to the graveyard and steal. You know, when you bury people, they bury them with all the jewelry. It was a very common practice in ancient days. So he went to a burial ground of a princess who was young, beautiful, died at a young age. And she was covered in diamonds and jewels and gold, and she was going to get buried. So he went there and he waited for them to bury her so he could go and they would leave and then he would go and steal all these jewels. For what? So he could feed other saintly people. So when he dug out uh, this grave and he opened the coffin and he was going to steal the jewels and the gold and everything from this lady, from this princess spoke up. He said, why are you taking all these jewels and ornaments from me? This was mine, it was left for me. Why are you stealing from me? I'm a dead person. Now you may think, how is this dead person speaking? I'll just go on a little slow detour for you. It is explained in the wisdom texts that when you die, your soul is still there. When you bury the body, the soul doesn't immediately go to the next body. It stays around for a while because there is a certain time, depending on your spiritual practices, you'll have certain amount of time that you'll still be around before you get your next body. Sometimes it's 3 days, 11 days, 7 days, 15 days, 21 days. There's a measurement of that. So this princess was still there in this, in her soul was still there around. So the soul spoke to him. He says, if you want wealth, I will tell you where you can get all this wealth. So this princess spoke and said, you should go to my father and tell my father that underneath my bed there is a special place that I have created, and I have left so much wealth. All the wealth you need, you can and go tell my father, and he will give it to you. So Vilvamangal was like, okay, good. So he wrapped it up and he went to the king and he approached the king and he says, my dear king, I have a message from your daughter. She said that I could have her wealth. But the king was thinking, what are you talking about? And he says, my dear king, nobody knows. I know because she personally told me that no one in the world knows that if you go to her room, in this particular corner underneath the bed, there is this special secret vault. And this is where the keys are. And you open it, there is all this treasure, and that treasure is meant for me. So the king was like, how does this guy know all these details? Nobody in the palace knows. So let's go see if this is true. So the king goes to his room, her room. Fair enough. He finds the keys and opens and is filled with all this wealth. So the king gives all his wealth to this sannyasi, to this mendicant. The mendicant comes back home and starts feeding. But what happens? When you get wealth, you always want more. Even though now he has all this wealth, he wants more wealth. So he goes back where? Where this princess is buried to steal all her ornaments all over again. And then she was like, okay, this is too much. So she cursed him that in your next life, because you're attached to wealth, next life, your attachment will be to women. Sometimes some of you may think, what's wrong with that? It's the attachment that is the problem. It's not being with women, it's the attachment. He says, you'll be attached to that woman. So what happened? Even though he was born in a pious family, his whole life he was just visiting prostitutes. And even though his intention was right, he was cursed to come back. And she had to come back again because she cursed him, because he was wanting the money to serve others. So there was a karma that she incurred for cursing him. And she came as Chintamani. So he came as Vilva Mangal Thakur, and she came as Chintamani. And then she became the conduit for his spiritual liberation. So this is a small story of this month. So to keep in mind that all material attachments that we have in this world might bring us back. So for this one month, we practice deep spiritual, deep material detachment and attachment to our spiritual selves, attachment to service, attachment to uh, be closer to God. This is what this month is dedicated to. It's extremely powerful. So this is the full story. There is more to the story, but in a nutshell version. So on this month, there's this beautiful prayers that he sings, Chorashtakam. Nitai, can you show that picture again? We can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can, Prabhu.
Yeah, so this is what life is all about. Chaurashtakam. Now let me try and find you a very beautiful Nita, can you find Chaurashtakam? Vraje prasidham navanita choram. There we go. Yes, you find it. Look at this. Yeah, this is how you can recite this every day. Vraje prasidham navanita choram gopangananam chadkula choram अनेक जन्मार जित पाप चोरम चोराग्रगण्यम पुरुषम नमामि. Nitai. Okay, read the let's okay, read this the second one. Shri Radhikaya Hridayasya Choram Navam Budashyamalakanti Choram पदाश्रितानं च समस्तचोरं चोराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि. Let's go to the translation, Nitai. If you look, I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves. I cannot read because there is screen blocking it. Who is famous in Vrindavan. Anyway, I cannot read, so you can get out of the screen. We can share it and people can study this. So these are one of the prayers that praying to God, please steal my heart. You steal everything. You steal the sins of the sinful people because that's what you are. You are a thief. You steal the hearts of others. So our prayer this month is this Chaurashtakam. We're asking God to please still our hearts. So, any thoughts, questions, reflections, meditations anybody would like to share?
I have a question.
Yes, Nadine, I knew you would have a question.
This month, is it as powerful as Kartik, for example?
Yes, it is considered to be more powerful than Kartik.
Okay.
Because Kartik you get once a year. This one you get once every 2.5 years.
Okay.
Because Krishna personally said, I will take over this month, I will adopt you. I will empower this month that anyone who dedicates themselves to loving themselves and self-development and developing a deep relationship with God, I will personally be there with this person.
Yeah. Wow. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share anything?
Is this the also some like Akadashi?
Today is not the Ekadasi. Ekadasi the is the 11th day and 15th is the full moon. So on the 11th day, we do a special fast, which I would recommend all of you to do. That if you fast on that day from eating, and what that does is on full moon, everyone's mind becomes a little crazy, a little cuckoo, is because everything is full moon. If you notice on full moon, if you go to the forest, all the animals and everyone, every emotions are heightened because the moon affects the bodies of water and our body is primarily water. So on the 11th day, if we fast, what that does, completely eliminates any mood swings that you'll ever have. It's really, really, really cool. It's a very auspicious day on Ekadasi. So we just stop eating, or you can just drink water. So we'll give you, if you're on the WhatsApp group, we will share the Ekadasi dates. We have an international WhatsApp group Nitai can share with you. And we will share the Ekadasi and the stories of the Ekadasi. And you can fast on that day, and guaranteed there will be no mood swings because everything will be perfect. So it's a little different than Ekadasi because this is for 1 month. It only comes in once every 2.5 years. Ramananda Prabhu, you want to share something?
I just wanted, because I don't know how you exactly said it, but you said Bilvamangala Thakur, he was at the tail end of his period of, how you say that? That curse ultimately. So can we influence that, or we just have to undergo it, or how do we know where we are?
I'm not quite sure I understood your question, Prabhu.
You said that Bilvamangal Thakur, at one point, he was at the end, the tail end of the period where he was like under that curse. That's how I understood it. How I understand it.
Karma.
Yeah,
Yes.
karma. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. So can we do something about that, or we just have to wait until we are at our end of the curse, of
You,
our
you
karma?
are you are already awake. Your heart is already open. So this question is, uh,
But
all of you are very fortunate because, sometimes we are listening for so many years and practicing for so many years, and we still don't open our hearts. And so this is why the sages are appealing to you, and I appeal to all of you to please open your heart and let God in your heart. Give him a little space. You deserve him, and he deserves you, and he's waiting for you. And that's what waking up means. Otherwise, we're going to have to carry this bag again to your next life and next life. Why do you want to carry this bag? You can let go of it in this one. And this month is very unique because this month allows you just every day doing your strict sadhana, keeping simple diet, saying pleasant things, acting kindly and serving others. Simple things, but that in itself completely lets you get off this karmic bag that we carry. So, thank you all very much. I am so grateful to be with all of you. And how do you like this music? Can you hear the music? No?
No, Prabhuji.
Uh-oh. Can you hear it now?
No.
Uh-oh. Nitai may have to figure out. I was thinking it's so nice to always end with a nice ecstatic kirtan and start with a meditative kirtan. Okay, so thank you all very much. Please take full advantage of this month and do whatever it takes to uh, grow and expand and be free from this karmic bag. Thank you all very much. And we are going to be launching the Chitta Cleanse for month of June. We are finishing up this group. For those of you who are curious, please contact Nitai, Keshavi Ma, or you can contact me and we'll give you all the details. Namaste, everyone. Please have a wonderful